This is why you're still focused on the negative after betrayal, and here's how to shift your attention. After betrayal, your brain is constantly scanning for what can go wrong next. In this video, we're going to take a look at the neuroscience to see why negative thoughts seem to overshadow everything else, even if things are going relatively well. We're going to look at why the brain tends to get stuck on negative information and how you can change this as you're healing from betrayal. So I was in this session with a client who spent most of the time telling me about the great things that had happened to her since we started working together. When I asked her to look back, when she first contacted me, she was so upset. She had been crying in her car for so long, or when she felt like crying, she would go to her car, that her car had actually been conditioned to feeling sad. And I'm not sure if she was calling me from her car at that time because we had scheduled this session in a few days and she was in so much emotional turmoil about a man that had ghosted her months before. I got on a video call with her right away and I gave her some tools from neuroscience to help her feel better until we were able to have that first session. And then after the first session, her brain was so flexible because hypnotherapy creates the right conditions for neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to be flexible. It can change your thoughts, which can change your behavior. And in doing so, it can change what's possible for you. So she made it to her first session. After her first hypnotherapy session, her car was no longer a trigger for feeling sad. She felt different as she drove home, and she messaged me the next day because she was feeling so calm. After that session, I went on a vacation to Iceland, and during those 3 weeks that I was away, she kept that feeling of calm, even though she had some really big life changes that had happened to her. And in our second session, the only thing that she was worried about was why she wasn't more worried about what had just happened in her life with those big changes. Her brain was integrating the past into the past so that she could move forward. And she was already resolving that major thing that had happened in her life. And she was making movement forward in a really tangible way. And she was a totally different person. She was becoming a totally different person than this broke down woman that I had to give emergency treatment to on a clarity call. And so I would ask her, what is the problem? And she would go on and on about all the great things that had happened. It would be like spending 90% of her answer talking about all the great things and then focusing on one small thing. And it was almost like that one thing negated all the great things that she had accomplished so far in our time working together. Do you want to know why? Because her brain was wired for negativity. So amazing things can happen all around you, but your brain will be focused on the one thing that's negative. Here's the thing. Everyone's brain is wired with this negativity bias. That is the default setting out of the box as a human being. There's something called the reticular activating system, or the RAS, and you can set this to whatever you want to pay attention to by setting an intention. If you don't consciously set an intention around what you want to pay attention to, the default setting is a negativity bias. So you will notice things that are negative around you, even though there's good things going on, because you are not in the habit of acknowledging and noticing the good stuff. And this is why gratitude works so well. When you set an intention to look for things that you're grateful for, you set up your RAS to look for things, to notice things, to be grateful for. And this is what programs your attention. So say if you get something new, like a yellow sweater, you're gonna start seeing that color on everybody. But before you got that sweater, you didn't really notice that people were wearing that color. You didn't even think it was a thing. The thing is that there were people wearing yellow all over the place, but you were just not noticing it because your RAS wasn't programmed for that. So the default setting is negativity bias. And especially after infidelity and betrayal trauma, you will see all the negative things in your life unless you consciously program it to see what you can be grateful for, so that you can see all the positive changes that are actually taking place, the shifts in your life as a result of the work that you're doing. This is why after betrayal trauma, you are so caught up in all the negativity. It just comes in wave after wave and you catch it all. You're paying attention to all the negative. And you get stuck in that because your negativity bias keeps your attention focused on all that bad stuff from the betrayal. All that overwhelm prevents the brain from being able to process it and put it into the past. Accelerated hypnotherapy and neuroscience create the right conditions for your brain to move out of betrayal trauma. And the best time to reprogram your RAS is right after a hypnotherapy session where your brain is plastic and you've just created all these new neural pathways, and you can consciously create and set an intention to see the positive shifts, to see all the positive changes as a result of the work that you're doing at the subconscious level. If you've experienced betrayal trauma, you are hypervigilant, you are expecting bad things to happen, and you're triggered as. So, do the work, and right after your session, ask yourself, what would I rather be focused on? And set that as your intention, and then actually look for those things during the week. And you will see them. And then you can acknowledge those things that you're actually grateful for. So what would you rather be focused on? Let me know in the comments below what you're going to start focusing on starting now. And let's connect on the next one.